Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to give you feedback on my take on Cyril Ramaphosa's speech last night, where the first thing I wanted to notice is that normally Cyril Ramaphosa is impeccably dressed. So there's either someone looking after him or he himself makes sure that he is dressed perfectly. And in this case, as you will see in the thumbnail, and I've noticed this throughout all his speeches, that his ties are fitted perfectly. And in this case, his tie was sitting towards the side into his jacket, and it wasn't perfectly fitted at his neck, which means that he either fitted the tie just before the speech started, or that there was no attention to detail, or he wasn't focused. Or the people that would normally make sure that he looks prim and proper weren't looking after him as well. And I think if I look at his state, he looked absolutely in a mess. And if you look at his speech, it was scripted, it was off a teleprompter, so he was reading from the teleprompter. And the one time when he deviated from the teleprompter was when he was speaking about the team that counsels him on what to do with regards to the pandemic. And he said very specifically it's a team consisting of medical professionals, scientists, and such like. Now, for him to use those words is not normal for President Cyril Ramaphosa. And it was clearly off script. This was not written on the teleprompter. And it tells you that in that moment, he gave the rest of that team the words and the importance of such like. Now, this is significant for a couple of reasons. I've told you before that there are behavioral scientists and experts in that team, that the medical experts took a back seat because it's all now about getting people's minds to believe that they need to be vaccinated and that they need to live a certain form of life in this new order that's being created. And is Cyril Ramaphosa telling us that he's not giving that much importance to them? He certainly looked disheveled, and if you look at his eyes throughout the speech, he was not his normal buoyant self as he's been in the past couple of speeches that I've not covered. So something is wrong. And I can see the pressure mounting. There's been other occasions where he's given speeches where he looked as if he was in the same state. So I don't know if he was given some form of medication just beforehand to calm his nerves or what the case is. But Cyril's not doing well. And at the beginning of the speech, his main focus was making excuses for the fact that there was a state of disaster to begin with. And Reino de Beer, the president of the Liberty Fighters Network, put out a video this morning that I would encourage you to go and watch. I've shared that on my Telegram group, so go and look for the link and watch that video, where Reino clearly makes the case for why state of disaster was never necessary and why we could have used exactly what they are doing now to actually address the situation we find ourselves in. But you see, this was never good enough for them to implement all the things they wanted to implement, involve the police, the military, and everyone else. So they needed to go to something far more extreme, and they needed to create the fear-mongering and the absolute shock in society for them to change their future forever. But South Africans are resilient. We've been through a lot and we don't fall for this type of nonsense. He thanked the country for all their efforts in doing what they were supposed to do. And throughout South Africa, all I saw is South Africans not listening to the regulations. Throughout the country, as I've toured, there's many places where the word COVID-19 did not even exist, was not discussed. There were no posters up, no one wearing masks or anything like that. And even the police and the people in governance in those areas refuse to follow the regulations. So I'm not sure if Cyril is fully up to speed with what is happening in the rest of the country. Maybe he is. But South Africans certainly did not do what his puppet masters wanted to happen. And he spoke specifically about the slow uptake of vaccines, especially in the 18 to 35 age category, where only just over 30% of people have been vaccinated, not fully. So there's this huge drive at this stage for people to be vaccinated across the country. And that's a decision you have to make. I've made my decision, I've made it public, and I have a right to do that. And this is why I've said before that even in the speech, that Cyril and the government or whoever is never going to force us to do anything. That their puppet masters will encourage them, and this is mainly large corporations, force them into doing things and implementing measures like they are now within the Ministry of Medicine and specifically health, to make sure that these new regulations that they put in place gives corporations all the might to enforce what they want. And this is a problem for South Africa at large. It's a problem for freedoms. And it once again just shows that we aren't free, that we don't live in a democracy. We never did. And a lot of people that don't understand that the Constitution does not protect us because of the clauses in there that gives politicians might over your Bill of Rights. So all these rights they give you in the Bill of Rights, they mean nothing, because in our Constitution a politician is given the power to remove them if they see fit. And because of this, the Constitution is a problem, and a lot of people are starting to speak about this now, starting to say that we have problems with the Constitution. Even Motsoeneke has now said we have problems with the Constitution, that the president of the country has unlimited power, way more than it should have, and that the Constitution should have never allowed that kind of power. These things were all put there to achieve this end goal of creating a new world order within the country and absolutely breaking our backs to the point where we will just give in. This is their idea. But South Africans, once again, we're resilient, we're very hard people, and we don't just cave to things like that. We need very little to survive. The majority of the people need very little to survive. And the one thing that Cyril tried to make the people feel better about is the fact that people can now don't have to wear masks outdoors. So today you don't have to wear a mask outdoors according to any regulations. And the one thing that shows that there's a huge fight happening behind the scenes, and he spoke about this meeting of the premiers, all the mayors of the large cities in the country, the traditional leaders, that they had a discussion. And for large gatherings in soccer stadiums or rugby stadiums or athletics or whatever the case may be, where there's big gatherings or at concerts, you can show that you've been vaccinated or that you've been tested negative for COVID-19, a PCR test in the last 72 hours. So they didn't just stick to the vaccine idea. They included a test. And what this means is that there's massive pressure on the presidency to allow people to go back to normal without being vaccinated. And this is important to note. The fact that they buckle to that pressure tells you that the resistance is huge in South Africa, and the fact that South Africans don't want to be vaccinated in general. And a lot of people might call it skepticism and many other things. But when you make vaccination so easy for people and they still don't want it, then, I always say, look at the evidence and then you can draw a conclusion. So I just wanted to bring you this update on Cyril's speech. The man is in a mess at the moment. I don't know what he's going to do next. If he's going to listen to his puppet masters, if he's going to grow a conscience, like I've said before. And I would encourage him to do so. Grow a conscience and do what is right. You actually know what is right. Your body language tells us that you know, because you are sweating blood in front of that teleprompter when you don't agree with half of the things that you are saying. And I can tell you, if a lie detector test had to be done on you while you're speaking those words, those needles will go off the charts and you'll probably break the machine. So thank you very much for watching. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe and click the bell icon to receive notifications for new videos, and watch the Moments in Time and Question Everything series. If you are a racist or you want to separate people into all sorts of groups, please stay off this channel, because I don't have time for you. I want nothing to do with you. You're an enemy to what we are trying to achieve in the country. And in fighting this New World Order plan that's divisionist, that wants to separate people, anything to class us as vaccinated, unvaccinated, whatever the case may be. We have to stop this madness, and I would like your support in doing that. Thank you very much. Till the next video.